We're back here on the radio program today. We've got a great guest with us today. Marilyn Redman joins us here on our broadcast. She's a fantastic author. We wanted to have her on today to talk about her newest book, Paradigm Busters, Reveal the Real You. Tell us a little bit about the newest book here, my friend. What does it mean to you?
Well, what I have come to discover is that we have been given a lot of information that isn't accurate, and we've been living our lives on it, and that's why we have such problems that are going on in our life today. And it's time to really set the record straight on how we can put ourselves into an understanding where we get the truth instead of a lot of things that actually don't work for us. So if we change our paradigm, which is the name of my book, Paradigm Busters, Reveal the Real You, then we can actually live in what is going to work for us and provide harmony and happiness that we really do deserve in our lives.
We've got Marilyn Redman with us today. She joins us live here on the radio program talking a little bit about her newest book, and we're glad that she made some time for us today. What's the significance of the picture on the cover of the book, Marilyn?
Well, I have become fearless, and in facing my last fear, I discovered that the greatest fear is not talking in front of audiences, which I've done all my life, and it's not dying. I have almost died a dozen times at this point, and discovered how that works. And so my greatest fear was, in this case, was riding a Ferris wheel at the waterfront of Seattle that was extremely large, because I'd panicked on an octopus ride in the 6th grade, and they got me off the ride immediately. And to go on to something that was even bigger and scarier was just unheard of. And I realized if I could substitute faith, I could ride the Ferris wheel. And as I was riding the Ferris wheel, all of a sudden, it was later in the day, and I brought my camera for pictures, and the sunset started coming on, and it became just absolutely glorious. This orange filled, I live by Seattle, the orange filled the whole city, orange in the water. We're on Puget Sound, and windows of the buildings behind me, the office buildings, were all reflecting orange, and it was this huge symbol of overcoming the last of my fears. And I know today that you've moved into a consciousness out of fear, which is unconditional love, and that was what the orange was representing. So, you know, my book really shows people how to overcome their fear and move into that unconditional love that is our birthright. So it was kind of like a gift from heaven, you might say, and it was absolutely astounding to see this orange sky.
We've got the author Marilyn Redman with us today here on our radio program. Join us live each and every Monday through Friday, 2 to 5 Central, 3 to 6 Eastern, 12 to 3 Pacific, and 1 to 4 Mountain Standard on our website, JiggyJaguar.com. We've got Marilyn Redman with us today. She joins us live, and she is a fantastic, fantastic author. She's got this great new book out. I'm glad she made some time for us today to be on our radio program today. How were your program, Living in the Principle of Love, on May 21st, 2016, which uses your new book, Help Folks Like Me?
Well, I'm so glad you asked that, because I am having a program. It's going to be near Seattle, near the airport, on May 21st, 2016 at 1 o'clock. And the program is called Living in the Principles of Love, because my book, each chapter is a principle of love. So as you're going through being honest and having hope and applying faith into your life, and cleaning out those things in your life that aren't real, so you can substitute the truth and the love that you really want to replace it, you can actually move into this new space that's fearless. And so I want to take people through the journey of what it needs to happen. My book is actually a workbook, so there's pages in it to write in it, answers, so that you can look at what you're thinking and telling yourself, and how you can actually change it with tools to do that. And so this class will actually help you see the process of moving from the negative into the positive, or from the fear into the love.
We've got Marilyn Redman joining us today here on our big program, Coast to Coast and Border to Border, on JiggyJaguar.com. Tell us a little bit about where this is going to be held and how we can register for the class.
Well, it's going to be held, I've contacted a nice location the Normandy Park Congregational Church is where I'm going to hold the program. And to get registered, if you go to my website, Angelica's Gifts, ANGELICASGIFTS.com, I have a listing of different parts on my website. One will say lectures and events. And when you go to that particular part of my website, it will give you all the details of the address, the time, the cost, and everything you need to know. And there's also a link with a brochure. And when you click on the brochure link, this will give you the registration form to send in to me. So you can just fill out the form and send it in. And I'm hoping people will sign up ahead of time, because I'm going to give each person that shows up a book that will be part of their registration. And I need to know how many people are coming so I have enough books. So please sign up early. The sooner you do, there's actually a discount if you get your registration in before May 6th. So I'm hoping that everybody will go to my website, angelicasgifts.com, go to lectures and events, and click on the link for the brochure and sign up, and we'll see you that Saturday afternoon. It's a PowerPoint presentation, also using the book itself to help you see how you can move through your old obstacles and barriers to finding what's left. When we release everything unloving, what's left is the love, and that's who we truly are.
We've got Marilyn Redman joining us today here in our big program, coast to coast and border to border on TuneIn, iTunes, Radio Loyalty, and about 50-plus AM/FM stations across the country and around the world, and also our good friends in Canada. Your book has scientific terms and spiritual terms. How do they fit into the information?
Because what I found is they're actually talking about the same thing, but from different wording, different semantics. So science talks about things you can see and touch, and spiritual things are invisible, but that energy is in everything, and it can manifest into physical form. And so that's what Einstein's theory was really about, was taking the spirit or the energy and making it matter. And we have this energy inside of us that has become physical, which we call people, human beings. And so that's really what we're doing is finding how to clean out the spirit inside of us so that we manifest the people we truly were created to be.
We've got Marilyn Redman joining us today. She joins us live here on the telephone, talking a little bit about all sorts of different things. She is fantastic. We're glad that she made some time for us today to be here on our big program. Marilyn Redman joins us live. And Marilyn, you're such an interesting individual. Your book has a scientific terms. You talked a little bit about those. And energy is mentioned often in your book. How does that apply to your consciousness?
Well, we are energy, which is vibrating at different levels, sometimes very low, which most people would call fear, the energy inside of us. And as we release that fear, which is really just what you don't know makes you fearful, so as you gain energy, as your energy rises, as you become more informed, as you have more answers, and people that are curious and think out of the box, their energy raises into high energy, which is more loving energy. So, the energy inside of us is our consciousness, and in the Bible they called it Jacob's ladder, that you go up the ladder. It's a ladder of consciousness. The more you're aware and perceiving the truth about who you are and what's around you, what's within you is the love in your heart, and letting that actually manifest in your life, you are breaking the barriers of the old paradigm. You're starting to become a love-based person rather than a fear-based person.
We've got a fantastic guest with us today. Marilyn Redman joins us today here in our broadcast, coast to coast and border to border. She is fantastic. Can energy change and transform into higher dimensions?
Well, it can. We actually know that we've been stopping this, so we have to become aware. And when we see that we've been actually sabotaging ourselves in some ways by saying, well, I can't do that. So we can't. If we say we can't, we can't. But when we start saying we can, we actually employ the energy of the universe to come in and assist us to move into that higher vibration where we have more courage and more hope, and we have more ability and confidence to move forward in our lives. So we literally can do it. When we become aware, our thinking and our communication and our actions become more positive, and that raises our energy within, which creates a better results in our life. So we really are about cause and effect. Most of us go around as victims, and so that's the result of thinking we are powerless. And when we realize that the energy inside of us supports us in loving good ways and start employing that in our lives, we become a cause. And we actually can master our emotions and move into that higher place where we create the life that we truly want, which is in harmony and cooperation with others. So it's a matter of being self-aware and going within and saying, gee, I can't choose the negative for the I can choose rather the positive for the negative, and my life will actually manifest into a happier place. And I have actually done that in my life. I have taken a very traumatic, a domestic violent childhood and marriage, and a lot of medical problems, illness, addictions, and transformed them into a life today which feels like heaven on earth. So we can raise our energy.
We've got Marilyn Redman joining us today here on our program, coast to coast and border to border on TuneIn, iTunes, Radio Loyalty, Stitcher, and of course 50-plus AM FM stations across the country and around the world, and iHeartRadio as well. If you want to listen to us on a brand new app, you can do so. JiggyJaguar.us. That's JIGGYJAGUAR.us. You can stream the show live, 24/7. Replay, exclusive news and programming information, all available on our app at JiggyJaguar.us. Marilyn Redman with us today. She joins us live, talking a little bit about all sorts of different things. She's a fantastic individual, and we're glad she made some time for us today here on our program. Never interviewed Marilyn before. She is a fantastic, fantastic individual. Can you explain emotions and feelings and how they seem to, I guess, affect our lives a little bit better than they do in some other areas?
Well, emotions and feelings are really our feedback as to where we are in our life and how we're doing. And I was for many, many years, because of the domestic violence and the abuse I went through, I didn't have any feelings. And I was a walking zombie and a robot, good robot. I did what I was told when I was a kid growing up. I didn't want to get hurt one more time. So I had to literally say, I choose.
Keep talking, Marilyn. We got you, my friend. Keep talking.
Oh, and have that love come into my life instead of stop it. So as I started to thaw out, that's what the movie Frozen is really about. As I started to thaw my feelings out, I started, of course, having a lot of negative feelings, which were uncomfortable, and that creates addictions, I know today. And as I healed those addictions and started to realize it was okay to have love in my life, and that's who I was supposed to be, was a loving creature of God, that I could have better feelings. And as I improved my life, my feelings improved. As I did healthier ways of handling my life, instead of reacting from fear, I started responding to all those negative situations in my life with love. Unconditional love, realizing those people were wounded and had difficulties, and they were just reflecting actually my own inner lack of peace and understanding. So I started sending love to everybody and under the events in my life, and I actually changed my life into a loving experience today. So we can actually do it when we want to have a better result. We can be at cause, and we don't have to react. We can actually respond in healthy ways and communicate with healthy, supporting, loving validation to our friends and loved ones. And then that comes back to us. So what you send out returns is a universal law. And instead of me sending out my fear, I continued that for many years, and it was painful, and I tried suicide, actually. And when I decided I needed to start sending out love, I've actually been receiving love in a relationship now for 15 years, unconditional love. So I've changed my life from being in hell, you might say, into a very loving, cooperative, harmonious situation today, and so we can really do it. If I can do it, anybody can.
It is Marilyn Redman. She joins us today here in our broadcast, coast to coast and border to border on TuneIn, iTunes, Radio Loyalty, Stitcher, and of course, our brand new Jiggy Jaguar app is available in the App Store, jiggyjaguar.us. Marilyn Redman joins us today here in our broadcast. Fascinating individual. She's with us live today. Can we really achieve a higher consciousness?
Well, yes, and that's really what we're all here to achieve in some way or another, is to see through the eyes of God or through the eyes of love. One of my favorite songs is a song called Through the Eyes of Love. It was a theme song for a movie years ago called Ice Castles. And when we start seeing that everything around us is really loving and in place just like it needs to be, I can walk out of my fear and know I'm safe. And when we feel safe, we can change our perception into all the wonderful things that are around us and in our lives and who we are, loving ourselves so we can love our neighbors. And, you know, when we change that perception, our lives change in many ways. It manifests as blessings, some people call it. It can manifest with more prosperity and abundance in your life. I've had those experiences where I just felt everything around me was abundantly there for me, all I needed. I don't have to be in need anymore. I don't have to feel limited in my life anymore or lacking or needy, because it's all there for me. When I'm sending out that unconditional love to others, it comes back in all kinds of parts of my life, not just one part, but my whole life improves.
We've got Marilyn Redman with us today. She joins us live here on our telephone, talking a little bit about herself and everything that she's involved in. Her website is angelicasgifts.com. Angelicasgifts.com. Her blog is marilynredmanbooks.blogspot.com. How can we support this new perception?
Well, one way is to read spiritual material that talks about the love inside of you rather than looking outside for your answers, because your answers are inside, and then to find people that are also on this journey. It's a spiritual journey, and there are groups that are very spiritual that can support you, like Search for God groups of Edgar Casey. Course in Miracles has study groups. Esther Hicks channels Abraham, and she has all kinds of classes and meetings. Of course, reading my material isn't going to hurt either. And when you find that 12-step groups are very spiritually based, oriented, there's so many 12-step programs out there, but they are spiritually based, and all of these groups are support groups. And find yourself a group that's trying to grow and find the truthful answers that you're looking for, and you can support each other so that you, instead of backsliding, you can just keep growing forward.
Marilyn Redman with us today, 11 minutes after the hour. Thanks for joining us here live on JiggyJaguar.com and, of course, iHeartRadio. And Marilyn Redman joins us today. She is fantastic. We're glad that she's making some time for us today. How can we support you? Basically, it's just AngelicaGifts.com, correct?
Right. In supporting me, I do readings. I do counseling. I write all kinds of articles. I am on YouTube. I've had over 5,200 people view and click into my YouTube material. I am on Amazon.com, my books and writing. I just became an international columnist for the Sussex newspaper. I have had a radio show myself, and that's on my website. Those interviews are classic, you might say. And a lot of my writing is very much in tune with helping people to find their answers, and I just last year was published in 3 anthologies about success. So if you go to my website, you see a lot of different talents and abilities that I have. I help people on the phone, through Skype, or coming to my home for past life regression therapy, hypnosis work to clean out those parts of our lives that we don't want is very well done with hypnosis. And so when we actually address that we're wanting to grow into a positive, healthy way, the opportunities seem to come to us.
Marilyn Redman with us today. She joins us live here on our broadcast, and fantastic guest. What does being a spiritual person mean?
spiritual person means that they're searching more and more for the love that is really their inheritance and birthright. And they're a love-based person rather than a fear-based person. Our society has been conditioned to react from the fear that you see on the newscast every night, the fear you read in the newspapers, all the wars that have gone on, and all the, even our political scene, what's going on right now, the mudslinging, all the negative problems that have gone on, everything that's a disaster. And when you react to that, then you stay caught up in it. But there is a way to remove yourself from that and to be a love-based person. You're either in fear or love. It's a choice. You can choose to walk out of that old paradigm. And then you're a spiritual person because you are searching for more loving answers, more loving ways to handle your life, more loving ways to be around others and contribute. We're here to help others. We're here to, if you can volunteer and be in programs that help seniors or help the ill or contribute in your family. Somebody in your neighborhood might even just need a ride to the grocery store because they're old and can't get there on themselves. So whatever you do to contribute and help and add your love to somebody else's life, that's being spiritual. We are here to give, not to receive, because everything we need, we have right now. So all we're needing to do is help those around us who still need help. And when we see that we are been taken care of by the universe and we're actually surviving beyond what we thought, we can move into thriving. We can thrive because we are helping others. What we give away actually comes back to us. It's kind of an oxymoron.
We've got a great guest with us today. Marilyn Redman joins us. Angelica's Gifts is her official website, angelicasgifts.com. And she joins us today here on the telephone. How do we overcome the ego and its influence, Marilyn?
Well, that's a wonderful question because that's exactly what's in the way of our being a loving spirit person who feels that they're unconditionally loved. My last book was The Real Meaning of 2012, A New Paradigm to Bring Heaven to Earth. The ego is part of our makeup. Ego, some people say, edging God out. And it influences and stops us to stay in fear. It stops us from moving out of that box of thinking, doing things that are not in our best interest, but we're too frightened and fearful to do otherwise. So when you listen to your ego, when you react out of guilt or revenge or anger, resentment, when you are jealous or envious of others, all those negative feelings come from our ego, and our ego wants to run our lives. So when we can identify, and that's what my book really shows people how to do, is to identify the ego's messages that are negative and actually fearful, and how we can release them and resolve them so they aren't influencing our life anymore. And when the ego is, everyone needs a certain amount of ego so that you have that's kind of who you are. It's just gotten way out of proportion. And we reduce it back, like instead of a hot air balloon, just let it come back down to being a piece of rubber instead of blowing way up out of proportion. Then our lives can actually move and manifest in more positive, supportive ways for ourselves and those around us. So we really want to reduce that influence of the ego, move out of that fearful basis, and not let it stop us and bother us and keep us from growing into the love of our lives, which is what we're here on earth is to enjoy.
It's Marilyn Redman. She joins us today here in our program, coast to coast and border to border on TuneIn, iTunes, Radio Loyalty, and 50-plus AM FM stations across the country and around the world. How do you achieve leaving your drama and worry behind for living in the present, Marilyn?
Well, that's a really good question because the past is what's been running our lives. We're kind of like little hamsters on a wheel going around and around and saying, how do I get off of this wheel? And that's basically reliving the past or the worry of the future. So we really aren't living in the now. And to release that, my book gives great details in several chapters of how to release it. There's some real wonderful tools in identifying them and realizing that if we don't release them, they're actually causing our trouble. We bring it back on ourselves. And so it's important to let those things go. The worry, there is no future here. What we're doing right now becomes our future. So to worry about it is what, if you're having a good day today, you'll probably have a good day tomorrow. That's just kind of how it moves into being the same as what you've had, only can actually be improved by if you improve your life today. So the worry in the future is not necessary. And you can't change the past. It's there. You can't create a new, better past. And that's one of the famous quotes Oprah liked. And so when you have to leave it behind that those people were teaching you how to change yourself, then you can live in the now. And that's, some people call it a present. The gift of now is reality. What's really gone on in our lives is we've never grown up from little kids. The boogeyman is the past.
Yes.
And we're letting that still scare us. And when we turn on the light of God, we move into the reality of being a mature person. And right now is all there is. And there's nothing to harm us. There's nothing to be a problem to us. So we can just enjoy and have that presence of be feeling good. You know, it's okay to feel good. That's what we're really supposed to be feeling, is good, instead of the depression or the guilt or the other things that come into our lives. Those are all from the past. And we can leave that behind and say, I choose to feel good today, because that's reality.
Well, Marilyn, I appreciate you making time for us today. Thanks for coming on our program today. Before we let you go, how do we find you online, Marilyn?
Online? If you go to my website, angelicusgifts.com, and as you mentioned, I'm on Amazon.com, and I have a blog, MarilynRedmanBooks.blogspot.com, and I have lots of YouTubes with lectures and different information and spiritual information called channeling. Or they can contact me at Marilyn@angelicusgifts.com. And if someone wanted to call, 253-845-4907, I'd be glad to answer any questions for people. So if you just Google Marilyn Redmond, my name will come up in various ways, and I'm easily accessible.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, Marilyn. I appreciate it. Thanks for being with us today.